Crash 4 is finally here. Unlike my usual content, this is more of a first impressions video as I've only played about 5 to 6 hours of the game and haven't beaten it completely yet to give it a proper review. When the original trailers dropped, my first impressions weren't the best as I wasn't a big fan of the new designs, especially after the work Vicarious Visions put in on the Insane trilogy. Now that I have it in my hands and had some time to get used to them though, I actually like the designs, looking a lot better compared to something like Mind Over Mutant. Why did anyone think giving Crash tribal tattoos was a good idea? The game is a direct sequel to the original Naughty Dog trilogy on PS1, ignoring everything that came after it, though the devs say that Wrath of Cortex and the rest of the games are still part of the series' bigger multiverse, so it's still there for the people who like them. This game shares a few similarities with Wrath of Cortex 2 actually, mainly being the fourth in the series and the multiple masks idea, though in this game the masks are the good guys and power up Crash and Coco instead of Crunch Bandicoot, who I don't think is in this game at all. Crash 4 starts immediately where Warp ended, with Cortex, Entropy, and Uka Uka are still trapped somewhere in time. Using up all of his power, Uka Uka manages to punch a hole through reality, letting them escape and starting the plot of the game. The game plays just like the other Crash platformers, running, jumping, spinning, etc., but it brings some new changes to the game in order to make it feel fresh instead of a rehash of the original trilogy. First is 2 new options to play the game, Retro Mode and Modern Mode. Retro Mode works like the old games. You have a set amount of lives, and having to restart the level from scratch if you lose all your lives. Modern Mode gives you infinite lives, letting you redo levels from checkpoints endlessly. This doesn't make it easy mode though, as the levels are still tough to get through and you now have different objectives in the levels. The first is collecting Wumpa Fruits. Now you have to collect a certain amount in a level to collect your first 3 gems, getting a gem at 40%, 60%, and 80% in a given level. The 4th gem is the usual destroying all boxes gem, the 5th is dying less than 3 times in a level, and the last is finding the hidden gem somewhere in the level. Find all 6 gems and unlock a skin for Crash or Coco. On top of trying to do perfect runs in order to get all 6 gems, in some levels you'll have to find a flashback tape. Flashback tapes work like the death routes in older games, only appearing if you don't die before getting to them. The tapes unlock flashback levels on the map. Levels set before the first Crash Bandicoot game that has Cortex putting Crash and Coco through a set of experiments and trials. The levels themselves are much longer compared to the original trilogy. Ignoring any deaths or retries, levels in the original series lasted somewhere around 2 to 3 minutes, or less for easier ones. On average, the levels here last from 4 to 6 minutes. May not seem like a lot at first, but when you start dying and reviving, it will feel a whole lot longer. Also to note is that Toys for Bob changed up the jumping from the Insane trilogy. Underneath Crash and Coco is a yellow circle on their shadow, making it easier to land your jumps compared to the games that preceded it, downgrading the difficulty from Dark Souls to, Sekiro? Outside of the changes to the core gameplay, a new addition to the games are the Quantum Mask. There are 4 in total, and they'll show up in certain stages working as a sort of power-up. Lani Loli, the first mask you find, phases objects in and out of a stage, letting you make certain boxes and obstacles appear and disappear in order to proceed. Akano, the second mask, powers you up with dark matter, buffing your spin attack to go on continuously until you turn it off and let you hover over huge distances. Kapuna Wa, the Mask of Time, lets you slow down fast-moving platforms and enemies, and the last mask, Ika Ika, lets you change the direction of gravity, like in Mario Galaxy. Outside of the main 2 Bandicoots, you'll also have the chance to play as Crash's old girlfriend, or a version of her anyways, Tana. This Tana is from an alternate universe, and looks a lot different from the normal Tana.
God damn.
She also plays a bit differently than the main pair. First, you can only play as Tana in certain levels, so you can't switch to her in every level like Coco and Crash. Second, she has some moves unique to her. The first is a grappling hook that lets her attack enemies from long distance, reach out of the way boxes, or grapple to faraway rifts. The other is she's able to wall jump in certain areas. Her levels are a bit different, as you start off playing as her, but halfway through end up switching to one of the Bandicoots in a previous level, before switching to them completely to finish that level, having changed a little bit from the first time you played it. You'll also have levels where you play as Dr. Cortex and Dingo Dial, but unfortunately I haven't gotten to those levels yet, so I can't really speak about their gameplay yet. So far my impressions are pretty good. I love the character designs, the level design, the music, everything really. Hell, the way I found the green color gem really impressed me, as there was nothing really hinting where it was or how to find it. In the level Hit the Road, when you get to the checkpoint here, spin into the trash can next to the nitro crate. A controller will fall out, and when you spin into it, you'll control this little remote control car. Spin into the controller a couple more times, and it'll crash into the nitro crate, and boom, there's the gem. I love when games have things like that, where you have to work out a puzzle without having your hand held. The only real complaints I have right now is that your double jump feels a bit off, as I feel like I lose momentum on the second jump. Not sure if it was unintentional or as a way to make your jump easier to land, but I got used to it after a while. The other is I'm not sure I like that the Tana levels are playing her for half of it before swapping back to Crash or Coco, going back to a level you've already played. I think it would have been better to have you control Tana throughout the entire level instead. Despite not having beaten the game yet, I think it's solid and a proper follow-up to the original trilogy. It keeps the charm of the originals, but changes up enough to keep it from being a total rehash. Unlike the last Crash game, Nitro Fueled, there's no microtransactions or item shop. All the skins in the game are earned without having to pay for them, which feels weird having to praise, but that's just gaming when it comes to Activision. With time trials and the inverted levels extending the gameplay, there's tons of replay value, so if you're a Crash fan, definitely pick this one up. Sorry if I sounded a bit weird, guys. Been sick all week and fell behind on making my next video. Doing better now and finishing up the script for that one, so I should hopefully have it up sometime this week. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like below and subscribe for more content. I'm FuzzySlippers, and I'll catch you later. Peace.